Chapter 1 is called News Writing, and there's some great stuff mixed throughout this chapter. One thing you're going to want to pay close attention to, though, begins on page 12, and it's where we talk about a couple different ways to go about interviewing. I think the two different ways I'm going to talk about here and that are in the book are two contrasting styles, but I think they'll help student journalists immensely knowing both. One begins on page 12, and it's the 21 question formula. Not only do we talk about this formula in the book, but we also give sample sets of questions in the 21 question format to help students and teachers alike see how the formula works in action. Now, the 21 question formula, it's pretty simple. It basically outlines a map of 21 questions that start with some pretty easy background information questions that people aren't going to want to leave an interview without asking, and works its way up to some of the later questions, which are some of the more thought-provoking, deeper questions, which are going to be great for transition paragraphs as well as some of the quote paragraphs that are mixed throughout the story. Now, while it is a formula and things are pretty well thought out for the interview, it contrasts a lot to one of the other formulas that we have in the book, which are some tips that investigative journalist Don Ray gives. Now, the tips that he gives in there really don't encourage people to go in with a series of thought-out, planned questions into an interview, but rather take interviews with more of the approach of having a conversation with the subject and talking with them. He's got a series of tips in there that I think are great, not only for aspiring young journalists, but also seasoned veterans as well. In the classroom, I think it would be great to go through both sets and both styles of interviewing philosophies, whether it's the prepared 21 set of question formula or whether it's Don Ray's tips on having a conversation and have students work through exercises using both. I think what they'll find is they like the 21 question formula, they like the conversation formula, and they may find themselves working their interviews with a mix of something in between. Now, there's a lot of other great stuff in the chapter as well. They talk about tips of what news is, setting a great foundation, as well as ways and tips on generating story ideas. We also talk about lead writing in there and what the inverted pyramid is. I think you're going to find a lot of great stuff in that chapter, and I look forward to hearing from you about it.